for that. Oh, Arcane, right? Yeah. Before we finish, Arcane. So that's a good way to end this. The anti-colonial thingy. No, I mean, I don't know if you guys have watched it. I don't. I'm gonna try not to spoil the plot, okay, so that you can still watch it even if you listen to this. But I want to give you some pointers as you watch Arcane, to like notice the anti-colonial or the actually the colonial undertones of a story that so far has been incredibly anti-colonial. Like, if you have been watching Arcane in the past two arcs, in arc 1 and arc 2 of season 2, like the first 6 episodes, um so Iconoclast, just to answer that really quickly, Israeli soldiers with dual citizenship can be prosecuted domestically regardless of any ICC warrants. They can be prosecuted domestically, period, in their own states. But so Arcane now has constructed this like world that exists in a colonial relation between two cities, right? Piltover and Zaun. And Zaun being the colony, subjected to a capitalistic imperialist domination. They exist like basically in the basement of the other city with polluted air and completely dominated by Piltover, the colonial nation. And throughout the entire series, the whole point is, how do we do revolution? Um, and the first two arcs were about that. We're about like, okay, are we, um, do we uh, prosecute liberation through trying to change the system from within, meaning what Vi was doing with Caitlyn, or through armed struggle, what Silco and then Jinx was doing. And I was thinking, like, where are they going to lead this? Because if what they're going to tell me is that the the revolutionaries are the good guy, that would be incredible. Because most of Hollywood never concludes that the revolutionaries were the good guys, and that's regardless of whether you say that Vi or Jinx would succeed, right? Even if you tell me that um, it is possible to decolonize from within, I would have my disagreements, but it wouldn't be unheard of for countries to achieve decolonization through peaceful means. Right? So I I'd be fine with that, so long as you tell me that there's decolonization happening. Right? So either Vi or Jinx, either of the two can succeed in this, and I'll be happy. Lovely Lightstar says Star Wars is the exception. Star Wars and the Hunger Games, where the revolutionaries are the good guys. Um, and so I was very intrigued to see where they were uh, taking this. Yeah, Rosova. See, I understand your point, and like if you want to make the comparison, like Vi is the Palestinian Authority and Jinx is Hamas, right? Um, um, but like it doesn't it doesn't need to be like I do think, like, for example, making that parallel, I do think that the Palestinian Authority has achieved a lot um in ways that Hamas hasn't, right? So um I can accept that narrative of you telling me I would, judging by the baseline of Hollywood, where the revolutionaries are always the bad guys, I would take an ending that tells me that Vi is the way to go, um, because it would still be someone who's not subservient to Piltover. Like at least from most of the episodes, she gets disappointed by Piltover often, right? So I was very curious to see what was going to happen, and my disappointment with Arc 3 was that the result, the answer that the show has, and again, I'm gonna try not to spoil the plot, but it will probably be a little bit spoilery, so take it with a grain of salt. And if you want zero spoilers, like maybe mute me for a second. Is that the way that they solve colonialism between Piltover and Zaun is by introducing an even bigger threat with the Medardas, with Nox, Noxus. So I don't remember the name. And so because there's an external threat that is even like quote unquote is even worse than colonialism, It's like colonialism for all, right? They're going to be defeated, and everyone's going to be colonized. Because of that, all the problems are resolved. The barriers are thrown out, and the Zonians are able to come into Piltover to defend the city of Piltover. Apparently, no one cares about defending Zon. Um, and and so they throw the checkpoints down in a Independence Day like moment, where like famously Independence Day has like the Israelis and the Palestinians just like shaking hands because there's alien invaders. Um, and then they fight a war together. The Zonians appear last minute to save the day. Um, and then the resolution of it all is that there's now a council in Piltover where there's a token Zonian. That's it. Colonialism was solved because now in the government of the colonial metropoly, there's a token colonized person. It's just such a disappointment for a show that had such great potential, right? It was, oof, it was just so disappointing from an anti-colonial perspective. Oh, sorry, Fats. Maybe I did warn that I was gonna be a little spoilery. So yeah, I totally understand if you want to go. Don't worry about it. Thanks for stopping by. Um, but yeah, but that was um my problem, I guess. Right, the anti-colonial potential of the Jinx Vi storyline became, oh, but everyone can get along, kumbaya. The problem was not structural. The problem was just misunderstanding. The Piltover people just had to understand that these onions can help to protect Piltover. I mean, that's not a colonial relation. That's not how a colonial relationship is built. We started with this, right? Colonialism, the colonial encounter requires domination and discrimination and violence. You cannot just simply solve it because there's a bigger threat. That inclusion, that idea that you can. Aicha Chubukcho has a really great article on this. I'll see if I can find it on what happens when you incorporate, you know, otherize peoples into quote unquote humanity, and it's a fake inclusion. It's called arguing against humanity. Let me see if I can find it. Thinking against humanity. Sorry about that. So it's here, and with this, I'm gonna start to wrap things up. Hold on. Um, so this is an article by Aicha that if you read it thinking about Arcane, you'll be like, yeah, of course. The inclusion of the Piltover people, of the Zon people into Piltover will not lead to any kind of um, equality. It'll just lead to more an unequal integration and racism. Um, I did watch Andor and I really liked it. I will. We can talk about Andor when I've watched it again because I don't remember everything, but I really did like it. I'm looking forward to season 2.